That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Zhongshan gunboat, or warship as they're calling it here.
这是我第一次跟外国人交流，
是吧？
对。
Sun Yat-sen, folks, also known as the father of modern China. Interesting guy in that he is celebrated both here in the mainland and also over in Taiwan, where the nationalists are. So, yeah, interesting guy. This whole park we're standing in is named after him. It's called Zhongshan Park here in Wuhan. Chinese call him Sun Zhongshan, so Zhongshan, rather than Sun Yat-sen as he's more commonly known in the West. Who was this guy? If you haven't heard of him, he was essentially a big-time believer that the Qing dynasty, which was the reigning dynasty at the end of the Chinese imperial period, needed to go. Power to the people, democracy and republicanism and all that good stuff. None of this monarchy. Throughout China and other parts of the world, actually, there's multiple places named after him. I know here in Wuhan, aside from this park, which is named Zhongshan Park, there's also one of the main streets is called Zhongshan Avenue. And believe it or not, after his death in 1925, I believe, he even had a boat named after him. And that boat, it's a gunboat, a military vessel, saw action in the Second World War. And it's on display here in Wuhan in a museum. So let's head from Zhongshan Park to the Zhongshan Gunboat Museum. Let's go. Now this museum we're heading to, which has got the old gunboat on display, is kind of miles out of town. So before we jump on the subway, we'll grab ourselves a cool drink, then we head off. 这么有啊？来一瓶吧。几块钱？
支付宝到账4.5元。
谢谢。Right, we've got our drink. Let's head on to the subway. Just by the by, I used to work in that building back there many years ago. Right, subway, transfer, bus. That's the plan. Alright, we're here on line 2, jump onto line 5, all the way to the end, and then onto the bus. We just missed it. Next one comes in a minute and a half. Line 2 is busy.
We are arriving at
Line 5. Well, it was my first time taking line number 5, and half of it was above ground. That's cool. Much nicer view than just, I don't know, underground tunnels. So this area looks pretty nice. Again, looks to be kind of on the outskirts of town. We need to get our bearings and find where the bus stop is. Here, but the bus doesn't leave for half an hour, and that'll get us to 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock before we even get on the bus. And then the bus is almost an hour. Okay, I might want to find something to eat before we get there. Oh man, are we gonna go to KFC? Are we really gonna get KFC? Okay, no, there might be other food. We're not gonna get KFC. There's a bunch of restaurants here. Yeah. 一碗黄炝牛肉面吧。牛肉面。对。微辣行吗？微辣可以。
欢迎使用支付宝。
谢谢。I don't trust myself to not get soup all over my clothes, so black jacket on. We've got 20 odd minutes, so wolf this down, head to the bus stop. Everyone uses those QR codes on the table to order. but I'm being an old man. I just ordered at the counter. Right. Oh God. A hot bowl of noodles on a hot day. We're in a hot jacket, so I didn't get bloody broth all over my clothes. It was not ideal. But let's see if we can find this bus. I think it should be just over there. Yeah, first stop, and we're going all the way here. It's gonna be a long bus ride. Sun 什么街啊？307
啊，我来看过讲的在哪？我来看了他的走了铁路，他那等上楼的。
我也不知道。Guy's asking me for directions. I couldn't understand that much of what he was saying, but I know he said he's looked that way, but the phone says it's that way. And I can see a bus. We've been here 15 minutes. So yeah, I hope that guy finds his way. If he's asking me for directions, he must be pretty desperate. One of the streets we just passed was called like Chevrolet Ave, so I'm guessing they build Chevys out here. Chevys. Bacon in the shop. Holy moly, that's the longest bus ride I think I've ever taken in Wuhan. Jeez, that was an hour. But here we are. There's the old Yangtze River. They've even got a bridge across it out this way. Right. Thank goodness I brought my passport, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be required for entry for this place. But yeah, let's see if we can get in. The place doesn't only open till 5, entries close at 4, and it's now 10 past 1, so we've still got plenty of time, but geez, that was a long trek. 哎，请问一下，那个博物馆是这边进吗？前面一点。前面红色那个广告牌那里。哦，就左转是吧？对。啊，谢谢。Zhongshan warship natural monument. I've been calling it gunboat warship. Right. Here we go. 这个是怎么搞？刷码吗？
对，微信扫码预约一下。
微信是吧？
微信。
微信。
下一步填写个人信息，姓名、手机号、身份证号。
身份证是护照吧？
你是？
我是外国的，所以我带了护照。
你带护照直接到前面去登记。
不用这个这个吗？
不用了。
哦，好，谢谢。She says I have to go over here because I'm a foreigner. Maybe I don't need to use this. 哎，请问一下，那边的女的说，因为
登个记，
在这边登个记。哦，行。哦，就。
来，你进来。
哦，好，不好意思，麻烦你啊。
来，过来，你写一下吧。
好，行。
你中国话说的挺溜的。
就是姓名。
写你的名字。电话号码写一个。
我有一个。
你中国话说的真好啊！你来中国多少年了？
好几年，
了。
但是
说中国话说的也太……你看到没有？说这个音真是。
这是我第一次来参观这个地方。
然后你把中国话写中国话，
中国话。
把你电话号码报了写了。你哪个国家？
新西兰。
新西兰。好，可以了啊。
好，行，在里面可以拍照吧？
可以。
好，谢谢。Right. Can't use the app, which is kind of normal, because everything in China tends to be linked to your ID card. And because I don't have an ID card, they had to manually put me in with my passport. So, yeah. Right. There might be some kind of security check up ahead as well. There's certainly a big park around the place. What I want to see is in there. 哎，你好。登个记，好，行。 护照需要吗？
不需要。
不需要。
对，你可以手机预约吗？
什么？
手机预约，手机可以吗？
我在那边设的，但是好像失败了。
是吧？统计了，你说你一个人就是一个人登记可以吗？
可以，这里可以。
哦，你中文说的好好啊！
学了好几年。就写个名字和
姓名，然后那个
那个身份证号码这是护照号码。这是在武汉的地址吗？就在东西湖啊。
那你就写东西湖呗。
东西湖，你可以帮我写吗？我的中文字写的不太好。
你中文说的
说话可以，写字还是难一些。
你一个人过来
就一个人对。
好，可以。
可以了是吧？好，谢谢。Okay, two layers of entrance. This is pretty secure stuff. Inside here is going to be a boat, a warship. Ordered by the Qing dynasty back at the end of their reign in about 1910. But then when their dynasty came to an end, they ordered it from Japan. They bought the boat from Japan. Japanese shipmakers made it for them, just like as a kind of coastal patrol vessel. Gunboats are especially important with all the rivers in China. So smaller than kind of ones that you would expect to be kind of out at sea, but mostly along the coast. And yeah, it was handed over in 1913 upon completion, but by that point the Qing dynasty had ended, so it was handed over to kind of the Republic of China. But China at that point was still a real mess. Warlords with their different factions and whatnot. China was very kind of far from a unified state at that point. So yeah, the ship had a bit of a interesting start to life and an interesting end, but we'll get to that.
你好，拿这个小票上2楼可以免费领个纪念品。
好，谢谢。
谢谢啊。
包包要放进去吗？水要不要捡？
不用，水不用。包包过一下。
每次上地铁要把水拿出来。
你说中文说的特别好。
我学了。
特别优秀。
学了好长时间。里面可以拍照吗？
可以。
好，谢谢。The reason we came was to see that bad boy. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Zhongshan gunboat, or warship as they're calling it here. Now here's our guy. Here's the guy the ship was named after. Old Sun Yat-sen. Now they renamed the ship after his death because kind of to honor him as the father of modern China, but also because he at one point was on this ship. I mentioned that China was kind of a divided place at that time. One of the warlords essentially tried to put a hit out on our man Sun Yat-sen at his residence in Guangzhou, which you might know as Canton. But he escaped. He escaped on this boat and then went on to a British boat where they took him to Hong Kong. The scene behind us commemorates the moment that Sun Yat-sen had to flee for his life after his residence was under attack. And he had to get on the boat to get out of Dodge. Sun Yat-sen himself, he spent a lot of time in Japan, which is interesting because as he was a revolutionary trying to bring down the Qing dynasty, he was always on the run. Every time there was a failed kind of uprising, he had to head back to Japan where it was safe. And he was a big proponent of Pan-Asianism, that the Asian powers, who kind of been dominated by the European powers at that time, should work together to stop this European dominance. So it's kind of ironic that a ship bearing his name ended up being sunk by Imperial Japan. The battle for Wuhan itself, the city proper, only lasted about 3 days. But the preceding campaign in the surrounding provinces and surrounding areas, much like this one where we are now, like quite far removed from the city, took a lot longer. That's when the ship was sunk. on kind of shore bombardment and defense duties, as the Japanese both sailed their ships up the river and brought their land forces along too. Air power was certainly a big difference. As much as those Soviet pilots and the Chinese pilots with their obsolete aircraft tried, they didn't have control of the skies. There's more damage there. There was a note next to the ship on there which said there were six holes found in the ship. So it was probably sunk from multiple explosions. In 1986, planning began to salvage this thing from the depths of the Yangtze, and they finally brought it out in 1997 and restored it to the condition you can see it's in now. I guess the museum is partly having the desired effect, because I can hear some of the kids asking their parents about what happened and how you need to be kind of strong to protect yourself, because this was bombed by the Japanese. Again, the Chinese haven't forgotten any of that. Here's a reminder. The other day we walked down that road, going past all the concession buildings. Again, that stuff hasn't been forgotten. Interestingly, they've gone for kind of full authenticity. The ship is flying the flag of the Republic of China, which is the one it would have been flying at the time. They haven't switched it to a PRC flag, so authentic. Now, most of the places I've gone on this trip, I don't feel like would have been that interesting for the kids, but I reckon my son would love this. I'll bring him next time. But I might have to find a friend who's got a car, because that was a long drive. Since 1913, Zhongshan warship witnessed many historical events, including when the counter-revolutionary Kuomintang plotted to usurp against the forefathers of the Chinese Communist Party, Battle of Wuhan against Japan, etc. Sounds like the nationalists used this boat against the communists, which they also haven't forgotten. If I'm not mistaken, that's celebrating China getting the nuclear bomb. The Chinese ain't that great, but I think that's what it is. Yuan's it done? It should be a nuclear bomb. Right, that's pretty much all I came to see. We'll do a quick walk around, see if there's anything else interesting apart from the big boat. And there's a jet. It looks like a MiG, what is it, a MiG-21? Somebody help me out here. Nope, not a MiG. Chinese plane. Surely it's a variant of some kind of MiG. I don't mean to give Chinese aircraft designers any grief, but surely that's MiG generation stuff. Like 60s, 50s, 60s MiGs, right? Light tank, some artillery, some kind of radar truck, and some basketball courts, and some exercise equipment. Okay. I love how that lady was looking at the plane and she's like, oh, look at all the dandelions. Girls, huh? Kiddies playground. I really should have brought my kids today, shouldn't I? There's something over there which is kind of piquing my interest. It looks pretty far. There's a monument that says 1945. That'll be when Japan surrendered. The rejoicing of the people. Victory in 1945. They're dating it back to 1931 when they seized Manchuria, I think that was. I'm thinking 1937 when the kind of endless war stopped, because between 31 and 37 there was a break. But Japan certainly occupied parts of China, like the mainland, since long before 1937 when they set up their puppet state in Manchuria. On September 18, 1945, a surrender ceremony of the Japanese army in central China was held in Zhongshan Park, Hankou. Zhongshan Park, that's our guy again. Sun Yat-sen, commander of the 6th War Zone of China, accepted the surrender of the Senior General Naozaburo Okabe, commander of the 6th Front Army of the Japanese Army. Okay, so there, I guess there were a lot of surrender. Is it a ceremony? Because there's the main one which all the bigwigs attended, but then I guess all around the country there would have been smaller ones. It's a nice view. Looking at how high that thing is, if you can in fact get to it, I'm assuming there are some stairs in my future. Under this beating sun, I'm not that enthusiastic, but I'm curious. Battle of Wuhan was at a time of the Second Kuomintang Communist Corporation. Chinese Communist Party propagandized and called upon all walks of life to raise anti-Japanese campaigns all over Wuhan. Anti-Japanese torch parades, contributions of capital, performances, newspapers and periodicals for anti-Japanese war displayed on grand scenes of anti-Japanese and the participation of all the people. That's right. Come together despite your own differences to fight your mutual enemy, the Japanese. It's always so easy when you've got a common external enemy to look at, right? Everything within your own borders seems much more trivial when you've got someone else to worry about. 那个上面有什么呀？
没有什么。
没有什么。
看到一些阵亡将士的纪念的一个东西。
这么热的天气，我还蛮不确定我要不要爬上去。
可以锻炼一下。
好主意，好，谢谢。The guys didn't exactly sell it to me. I asked them what's up here, and they said nothing much. But get some exercise into you. All right. Let's go. Okay. Even if that's crap, that's a nice view. Okay, here's the memorial the guy talked about. Battle for Wuhan lasted 5 months. It did start with an air attack. Yeah, history of the boat. Nothing really we didn't even know, although it does talk about how the Battle for Wuhan was kind of longer than the 3 days. 3 days was the city itself. Well, there you go, folks. A bunch of white rods. I don't actually know what that signifies, but cool. Cool for white rods. The view more impressive. 你好，好热啊，今天爬楼梯累死了。这些东西有什么含义吗？
这个大家基本上理解的，不知道。
That guy didn't seem too sure about what these are about either. But yeah. Well, folks, that's it. The end of the road from the Zhongshan Warship Museum. Oh, I'm not sure if I'm allowed out this way. I might be walking the wrong way. 我是不是走错了？
没错，
这边可以出去吗？
可以。
好，我刚刚爬了那个
纪念碑上面去了。
哎，好高啊，热死了。但是这边还蛮好玩的。
可以。
嗯。
这里空气比较好。
对，空气好，天气也好。好，谢谢。
你要乘车吗
我要坐那个901、910。
？910。
对，在这边是吧？谢谢。你们是坐公交过来的吗？
对，我们坐公交坐了好远，我们在新洲区，离这里也很远，
是吧？
然后我们坐了大概3个多小时。
划得来吗？
感觉比打车便宜，
是吧？
对，
那肯定比较便宜。
就是路上比较坎坷。
那你们是来自武汉吗？
我们不是本地人，我这来自河南。
河南哦，你还来湖北上大学啊？
对。
喜欢吗？
感觉反正比我们那边好一点。
怎么好一点？
因为是大城市嘛。
哦，发展一点。
对，然后风景比我们那边好。
是吗？
我们那边就是平原，然后比他们这边不是有一条长江，然后整个的绿化什么的比我们那边都要好一点。
是吧？那你们明天还是要上课吧？
对。
怎么样感觉啊？跟高中比呢？
肯定要空闲时间要多一点。
因为我知道中国的高中生的生活还蛮压力很大。
对。
那个高考啊。
对，就是这个高考确实压力很大，因为你就是考好考不好，就是决定你上本科和专科。
对。那你是疫情的时候你是高中生还是？
对，疫情的时候我是高中生。
那怎么上课呢？网上上课。
对，就是通过那个手机 APP，然后老师在上面讲课，然后我们就用电脑或者手机去看。
那网上上课跟
效率很低，
是吧？
对，或者可以说没有效率，
是吧？
就是自律性。
对，靠你自己的自律。那你的自律怎么样？
怎么说呢？如果我的自律性好的话，我可能就不会
在这里。
对。这是我第一次跟外国人交流，
是吧？
对。我以为你不会说中文，我甚至。
那你应该学过英语吧？高考有英语。
对，这个会。
How's your English?
Not bad.
Not bad. Oh, good. I should speak to you in English.
How to say? What should I say?
Do you have English class now?
Yeah.
At university?
Yeah.
Oh. Is it important?
比较偏向于，就是一些生活中常用的。
对。因为这不是你的专业。
对。
Does every student at your school have to study English?
Yeah.
Even in university?
Even in high school.
Yes.
Or middle school.
Yes. English.
Yeah.
Oh.
We need learn a lot of classes in China.
Yes, I know. It's difficult.
How to say? Every 学期怎么说
？Term or maybe semester?
就是more than 8 classes.
Really?
Yeah.
Computer science, English.
English.
Politics? Like 政治
Yeah.
Maths?
Yeah.
Okay. PE. Okay. That's 5. History? No.
No history.
No history. Okay. What else? Chinese? No.
No.
还有语文？
有语文。
啊。
心理怎么说 ？Physical.
Physics.
Yeah. 还有
Too many.
就是每个学期都不一样，就是你这个学期要上这几门课，然后你可能这一个学期就学完了，对，然后下个学期还要另学其他的，可能一整个大学学期下来，这3-4年可能要学20多门课。
Oh wow. Too many.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that was the Gunboat Museum. We're now back off the bus, getting ready to get on the subway, but I've decided to stretch my legs a little bit, went to buy a coffee, and then I'll head home. Happily, just bumped into a couple of university students who were also out to see the gun museum for the day. So They've gone off to buy some food downtown, but I'm gonna head home. They've offered to give me a tour of their university at some point, which is kind of also out in the middle of nowhere, so maybe we'll take them up on that offer before we head back to New Zealand. But yeah, if you're ever in Wuhan, the Zhongshan Gunboat Museum, especially if you have access to a car, I would highly recommend it. And don't be like me, take your children. There seems to be plenty there for the kids to do. Who wouldn't like to see a big old gunboat and go on some little rides?
需要预约才可以进。
怎么进去啊？
带你进去啊。
We are heading directly into a tunnel. Hope she's not going to rob me